Apart from the flowers, which is, you can or can't do it, apart from doing that, it's fabulous. Okay, so that's excellent. There is, everybody's very interested in transportation. We brought Peter Swift, who is one of the pioneers of pedestrian activity. He's a real generalist. He knows exactly about cars, he knows how to design drainage, and he knows about pedestrians. He also knows about hieroglyphics, by the way, which comes later. So the peaceable is, we have the index, the indices that were researched by Randy Atlas. He spent 1 or 2 nights in a police cruiser. It was a bad night. There was nothing happened for him to do. Friendly cops, no activity. But he has a report, and among the things we want to do is to, and this is now not in order, among the things we want to do is to deal with the noise problem. So we have a noise ordinance that will come up later. This is an analysis that will make it a little more precise in the future of the quality of the pedestrian experience. The blue is, the dark blue is better than the light blue, and the red is the worst. It uses the French system of, what is it? Excellent, acceptable, and regrettable. And red is regrettable. Red is actually not a place you want to walk by because it's boring, etc. We have ideas about making masking buildings, which is to say sheds. If they're going to be permanent parking lots like this, mask them, build a building. No car parks in the corner anyway because it doesn't work, right? The cars can't park. The corners are always available for activity. And then you can make single-sided parking lots in which some cars get the shade and it actually completes the street. And this is our analysis of the best pedestrian quality to the least good, residential, commercial, and parking. People love to walk past this. They can walk all day. Then there's good, and then the worst is this. The worst is parking in the front, open parking lots, houses, ranch houses with garages in front. It doesn't matter how well they're landscaped. They're just boring to walk by. And so this is what we use this to rate from the best to the worst, and that's how you got that diagram. Now, we took that diagram, and what glows the darkest blue is, of course, Dauphin Street by far. Dauphin Street just is really continuously excellent, and then it drops off. Our plan is to take the blue, the better areas, and complete them. Rather than have random activity, a little here, a little there, a little everywhere, actually induce a connective experience. So, and pretty soon you'll have quite a trajectory that is ungapped by an inferior experience, ungapped by parking lots, etc. Okay? They also ask us to establish some notions of how to design these galleries so you can have more of them, and we're going to write some code language for that. And there's signage, the usual American obsession with signage, as if it were that important. And I know you have a huge sign ordinance. Our sign ordinance is half a page, and it uses this illustration. And this alone is a lecture, because you'll never believe it's so simple, so I have to sort of spend a huge amount of energy to say, and what else would you do? Doesn't this include anything that's good and exclude everything that's bad? Rules for awning signs, band signs for buildings, corner signs, blade signs, inside or on the window signs. This is where the neon can be, and then painted signs on the blank walls. Traditional cities had all of these, and it's pretty easy to determine what your tradition for size is. As I said, this is a 2-page manual, including this illustration, not even that. 2-page. You don't need the big, confusing one that is causing all sorts of pain to the developers. And I could come back and run a seminar on this, and I'm going to have to sooner or later. The other thing, there's this problem with trash. Okay, now, at this point, I had the worst experience. At this point, you reverted to typical American infantilism. Okay, you want it both ways. You want to eat food and have people throw the trash out, and you don't want to see the trash cans. Well, why don't we just do magic? Okay? And the problem is that you gave the alleys away. The alleys where that would have been are gone. They're privatized and blocked up. So bad idea. Again, one of these 60s ideas. Oh, alleys are bad. We don't need them. So now you have these in front. And mostly they don't smell, and mostly they're clean. You know, I don't see a huge problem, but I do think that it is a problem for you that I would say perhaps you have higher standards than I do in this regard. And we couldn't come up with any ideas. If you remember the last few days, I just pushed back and said, just, you know, suck it up and live with it, okay? The trash is picked up twice a day. What more do you want? I mean, there is no better performance than trash pickup twice a day. Yes, you could move them, you know, back against something, but on the whole, they were even clean and not smelly on the whole. And then one of us had, this is where the potential alleys were. Is this? No, space for trash, okay. If you were to put them in the back, this is what would happen, right? You can find space. Problem is the trash man can't find it because there is no system, right? So this really, in the end, might help 1 or 2 stores, but it's not systemic. And then we noticed one thing, which is that you guys are maintaining landscape. And one of us came up with this idea of a hedge. And this is a kind of hedge that actually grows on a metal network. It's really ivy. It's durable. It grows almost immediately. And you put the trash out, and you don't have these many of these. You have perhaps 1 or 2 per block face. The pedestrian doesn't see them, right? From the pedestrian point of view, you don't see them because you're seeing the hedge. They're right out here where the trash man can pick them up, and they're actually stored there. And when you do see them across the street, they're generally blocked by the other car. Like you're never actually near the trash because it's on the other side of the street. And is that all we have for this? We don't have another drawing from the sidewalk? I guess not. Okay. From the sidewalk, you basically don't see it. This is something that can be easily detailed. We're building these kinds of hedges at Seaside to hide the new generators. And as I said, they're very durable because they're not really hedges. They're just ivy on mesh. It's like topiary, more like topiary. So that's one idea. The other idea is how to handle your open parking. At the moment, you have terrible situation with basically cruddy old pavement. What should be allowed is crushed granite. There's a beautiful parking lot up Dauphin, white, pure, clean, draining beautifully, inexpensive. Obviously, it's not in the code, so it's not allowed. It should be in the code. And by the way, there's an argument. Listen to this argument. Well, some car might actually, when it gets out, bring some of that granite and tear up the street. Are you kidding? Tear up the street? It's more likely to fall down a hole in the street than tear it up. Don't worry about tearing up the street, okay? Granite is terrific. It packs. I have it in my house. I've used it all my life. It packs. And it's white. It's not black. It's easy to fix every few years, and it drains. It's the beautiful parking lot that you have. So that's number one. First of all, do that. Light it to prevent crime. Obviously, you need to light it. By the way, the people running it are terrible. The parking, Central Park, I need to call them by name. They are just abusive. You have rusty old things no one can operate for coins and so forth. You know why? Because this is city, how do I put it this way? You're too tolerant because they have much better standards in other cities. You just have to say, I'm not going to park here. You know, have a strike, get your elected officials, do something, but they are actually treating you very badly. This firm that has the contract. And I know the contracts are written for many years, but you can actually, there needs to be something like a boycott just so that they bring up their parking to the standard they're applying to other places. You can be sure New Orleans doesn't tolerate parking lots like these in the French Quarter. The second thing you can do, which you're already doing, is building good fences and hedges. The third thing is the single-story liner building. You see how the cars park inside? But the best is building a liner building that has parking in the first floor from the inside, housing above, inexpensive housing, and you never have to develop it further. There's income there. The parking is retained and it provides income, and they do work. Here's one that we as a result of our plan, we actually designed this. We weren't the architect.